Hello, everyone.
Hi, guys. All right, so welcome to the Boardwell Broadcasting Company. We're here with the 17th episode on the Sedecim, Astrology, Destiny, Ecology, and my guests here tonight are Deletheris, we've got Noslam, and Drax Baxton.
Thanks for having
Kit
me, guys.
was unfortunately under the weather today, so she's unable to make it. So I'm kind of stepping in tonight. So bear with me, and fingers crossed I don't mute myself at some point. But if I do, just yell at me, or the boys will yell at me. Happens all the time. Anyways, so let's just get right. Thanks to Drax for joining us. We haven't seen you in a bit, and
Yeah, I've been meaning to
welcome.
join.
Yeah,
We
and
finally convinced him. Finally.
I think I want to chime in just real quickly here as well. We got, normally we kind of like chit chat amongst ourselves and everything while you guys listen. Kit was going to be doing an amazing piece on the houses of the zodiac, etc. And we had kind of like questions prepared for her to interject and everything. But she has fallen sick today. But she has been just amazing in terms of putting together a video with lots of kind of like little, signs and pictures and everything that'll hopefully keep you busy. So bear through this, guys, because it's going to be around about 7-8 minutes long of like a monologue. And then once that's over, we'll get back to our regular format and we'll all be chatting again. But hopefully you'll find the video that Kit put together really kind of like engaging and informative. Without further ado, over to, I guess, Kit's video.
All right, let's see what she's got.
I'm both fascinated and thrilled that Chronicles of Illyria is going to have such a firm root in astrology, and as Soulbound Studios has always done, they're creating everything from the ground up. That means we're getting a completely fresh perspective on a zodiac system, which, while similar to the real world's 12 houses, is nevertheless thematically quite different. Chronicles of Illyria players will find that their character is impacted not only by the system of planets, but by the zodiac systems that they will travel through. There are 12 houses of the zodiac that Soulbound has created. As Caspian said in the Q&A on June 20th, there's a lot of symbolism, or as he called it, deep stuff. The creatures that have been chosen to represent these houses of the zodiac were picked for very specific reasons. Here's where I want to do my deep dive. As I looked through the animals that Soulbound Studios has revealed, it became very quickly apparent that those zodiac houses were masterfully crafted to fit the aspects of these creatures they had already showcased. Let's leap into that. Bear in mind that these things are, as always, subject to change. First, we have the otter bear, the house of domain. Personal possessions, wealth, fame, renown, and character. The first thing that comes to mind for me is how common of a creature this will be. As you can see on the wiki page for Chronicles of Illyria, creatures are rated on a scale of rarity from pets, common and uncommon, to rare and legendary. The otter bear is a common creature, which is no surprise given how popular they will be for transportation. This certainly relates to the domain of fame and renown. Otter bears will undoubtedly help players acquire fame and wealth as they travel throughout Illyria. Next, we have the Dryas Elk, House of Knowledge, development of knowledge, intelligence, information about world, and learning in general. Dryas elk are an uncommon creature. Now, the Dryas elk are prized in Illyria for their fur, of course, but their massive antlers are actually used for protection by Illyrians. A little bit of an intelligent invention, you might say. But the real first thought that comes to mind as I look at these creatures is how prominent their antlers are. They sprout from the crown of this majestic beast's head like a physical depiction of a large web of knowledge reaching outwards towards more information. Then we have the flower-cup porcupine, house of consciousness, home, self, lands, origin, and self-awareness. This adorable little guy has a form of natural camouflage, but can also store heat efficiently. One might imagine a creature with such a clever form of protection must also be very self-aware, looking out for what is around them. The aspect of home, self, and land also makes a lot of sense, as the flower-cup porcupine can take up on any land, anywhere, that they might find greenery, making a cozy place to hide. Then we have the Canis rabbit, the house of pursuit, creativity, romance, children, and accomplishing things. Now, the Canis rabbit is a creature we sadly don't know a whole lot about yet, though we do know they're considered very dangerous creatures. If you search the COE Discord, you get constant mentions of how one will not want to mess with them. Why, if I had to make a leap, it's that they're in packs. They're considered social creatures, and are likely fiercely protective of their young. Rabbits in the real world animal lore are considered creatures of fertility, but this takes a step farther where these violent Illyrian hunters are using their creative energy to become a concept of accomplishment and of pursuit. Next, we have the Ursifant, the House of Toil, career, endeavor, pursuit, and labor. Of the houses, this is perhaps one of the most straightforward to me. The Ursifant are used as mounts and to pull vehicles, which makes sense for the House of Toil. They're creatures of physical labor, though they do have a fun fact too. They're like the Illyrian version of a violent Winnie the Pooh, pursuing and killing honeybees in order to steal the honey. Appropriate for the house. Next, we have Lethet, the House of Connections. Land, romance, family, obligations and duties to lords, and personal connections. First of all, just look at these guys. They're so cute. They're pets that are most known for being super attached to their masters, riding on shoulders, being playful. But most interestingly, the creatures are empathic, sensing mood in such a way that they're very personally connected. They're also most commonly kept by those in positions with courts, meaning they are literally subservient to lords. Lo and behold, the Conifer Rat, House of Family, family, resources, obligation, and wealth. These resourceful little guys look like a pine cone when they're curled up, meaning that they use their own personal resources to stay hidden. They seem to come in a set of 3, which makes me believe this could be one aspect of the family. I'm definitely looking forward to more information on these cuties. Perhaps the fact that they are light sleepers who make a sound when woken up by movement means that they might help protect families by providing a sort of alarm. And maybe their training for reconnaissance and infiltration makes them a logical house for those trying to acquire wealth in more subtle ways. Number 8, we have the Domino Fox, House of Wisdom, associated with religion, scholastic pursuit, and personal development. Foxes in real life are known for being related to cunning, moving past illusions, and seeing things clearly. For this reason, I imagine that the Illyrian Domino Fox has been selected for the House of Wisdom due to some of the real-life association in spiritual circles, but also for the adaptation of having a natural domino mask on their face. This is an evolutionary adaptation that allows the Domino Fox to dig into snow and ice, as well as to protect from porcupines. This is very literally an advanced form of personal development across generations, allowing the fox to pursue whatever it will. Next, the Tarraguin, House of Status, financial success, reputation, community, politics, and prestige. First of all, just look at this majestic guy. He looks like he's in a suit ready to tackle the biggest business meeting of his life. They hunt to kill and have a well-known reputation for being dangerous. They pretty well get what they want, making them a logical governor of the House of Status. One might call them large and in charge. On to the Tricyn, House of Community. Organizational success, belonging, legislation, regulation, politics. With similar coverage of politics to the Tarraguin, it's not surprising that the Tricyn is associated with community and success. Tricyns, like the Ursifants, will be used as mounts or to pull vehicles, but they're also used in war and are considered social creatures. Those who find themselves behind an army of trained war Tricyn will certainly be more likely to find success and political standing. The Wildcat, House of Self. Personality, identity, image, and beginnings. Of all the fauna revealed in Illyria so far, there's not a whole lot known about the shrubland wildcat. They are cats, however, which are often full of personality. I'm curious to learn more about their story. Perhaps they have some excellent lore to come. And finally, we have the Phoenix, House of the Arcane. Secrets, the unknown, self-sacrifice, loss, and deception. Now, foremost, we have no concept art from Soulbound yet on what phoenixes in Illyria will look like. Geez, talk about a secret. They're literally unknown. According to lore, they're mythical beings rumored to live amongst the ancients, having survived the burning. This definitely seems to tie in well with loss. They don't possess a soul and are not sentient, but will be reborn when they die, like traditional phoenixes. Is this a part of the deception, I wonder? Above all, being the House of the Arcane, the Phoenixes represent a constant reminder that once upon a time, magic did exist in Illyria. Although there are still many more bits of lore, history, and biology to come out about these creatures, we can nevertheless see that Soulbound Studios' creative team is taking this topic of the Zodiac deeply into consideration. I personally cannot wait to be an Illyrian astrologer. And now I ask you, what did you think about the Zodiac reveal?
Okay, guys, so just really quick before we dive into the rest of our information for tonight's stream, I just wanted to remind you guys of our contest that we host every live stream. And this week, the code is "You Are Destined for the Sedecim." So I think we've got a couple links going in stream chat. So just put in your responses and may the best response win.
Awesome. Thank you, Mel. Yeah, I think the video kind of like wants to prompts me to kind of like tie into a comment that I saw that Caspian made in Discord around about a week ago. And it was pertaining to the fact that, you know, each destiny is its own story, right? That they are kind of like unique, and it would be, I wouldn't say impossible, but very unlikely for two people to share the same destiny, because though they might share the same birth date, they would have to be in the same place at the same time all the time to trigger the exact same triggers and make the same decisions, right? And that's not going to be happening. So, you know, each one of us has our own story, and that record of each destiny is a chronicle. And altogether, collectively, it's those stories of our own individual stories that make up the actual Chronicles of Illyria. This is what Chronicles of Illyria is about. It is about us. It is about our journey through these different kind of like lifetimes in this, you know, 10-year real life circle. But, you know, the other thing that I find interesting about all of this, and, you know, I don't follow astrology in real life kind of thing, but, you know, it's that, you know, we have the potential to at least choose the theme for our destiny, right? When you looked at that amazing video that Kit put together, you can see that, you know, there are themes in there. There are themes that would suit different people. For example, a rogue type, although we don't have the stereotypical classes in COE, but somebody that kind of like goes towards the deviant skills would pick Luna. Their birthday would fall in Luna because that focuses on shadow, you know, deception, mystery. A merchant might choose Gulian for ambition and wealth, you know, and that, interestingly enough, is countered with, you know, the great loss and reversal of fortune. A warrior would choose Aiden for opposition and defense, and so on. So it's, you know, we could, you know, you can kind of like, you know, choose, as I say, your theme. But for me, is there a concern that these birthdays could kind of like be metagamed, and that we could keep redoing character creation until we get the birthday storyline or destiny that we desire, kind of thing?
You know what, dude? You kind of have a point there. I mean, but isn't metagaming in today's gaming culture kind of a given? Any game, you can find a thing to break it, so to speak, and have it, you know, be in your favor?
If it can be broken, they will break it.
Yeah,
No,
I
but
tend to agree with that. Sorry, go ahead, Mel.
no, I was just side note. I just kind of not about metagaming, but I personally am really excited about all the different aspects that are actually going into our characters and their destinies. Just because I feel like in other games, you know, you kind of pick your sign, and it doesn't actually do much. Like you can kind of, you know, whatever suits your character, but it doesn't actually have much gameplay value. Whereas I think in COE, putting all these things together for your character and your destiny, it just makes our characters so much more multidimensional, and it makes it interesting because, you know, maybe you get contradictions in your sign versus, you know, the planet. So anyways, I just think it's going to be really interesting to see what all is possible with these two systems kind of merging.
I'm glad that there's more to character creation than boob and butt sliders now. You know, I mean, you really got to put a lot of thought into your character. Literally line it up with the stars. I mean, it's crazy. I haven't even got my head wrapped around the astrological system that's going to be in COE. I'm going to wait for Dee to figure it out and explain it to me later sometime.
Yeah,
That sounds like a plan.
interesting. Is that the real Caspian of Illyria? I'm seeing he's getting messages deleted. What's happening in the chat there? Oh, hope we're not deleting.
I think he maybe posted a link or something. It got automatically
Oh
deleted.
God, we're censoring. Sorry, Caspian, if
no.
we're censoring you, we're watching. What is it that you're needing to be done that we're having deleted? Maybe you can message it directly to Noslim and he can send it through or something like
Serp
that.
can send
or
it
to
through.
Kip.
Serp's a mod on the Twitch.
Sorry about that.
Alrighty, sorry, boss.
Struggle
But,
bus. Sorry.
Yeah.
The boss is struggling.
The other kind of like interesting thing that I found that kind of like struck me about this is, when we've kind of like discussed and asked the studio about various information, or give us a little bit more of a tidbit about that, or, can you let us know, are we going to find out about, this or that? And it always comes back as this rather kind of like vague and cryptic, and actually something that I like. But it comes back as this rather vague and cryptic, oh, you're going to have to find out once you're in game, right? And yet, this is a system where we're actually finding out, oh, you're going to have to find out once you're in before game. Before our character, you press that confirm button to roll the character. And so to me, it's an interesting kind of juxtaposition, for want of a better word. It's an interesting contrast to that astrology we will know almost before game starts kind of thing, But yeah. Anyhow, I know that a lot that Kit showed there in that video was to do with animals and everything, and animals are part of the ecology. And I think Drax, you had something about the something about ecology.
I do. I actually have a little bit of a funny antidote here. So let's say that we dove into a town who their population needs to be fed, right? So they go out and they decide to kill all the rabbits in the town area. So, but by doing this, the local wildlife that is predators will start coming in and looking for food, but they have no food. So where do they go to? They go to the town because that's where all the food would be being people and other things being prepared. So let's say, let's go with the Johnson's family goes to bed one night, and in the morning they come and check on the little kid, little Tyke, and all they see is a bloody mess in the room because there's a wolf in the damn room because they killed all the rabbits because the wolves are hungry and they got to eat too. So now this is going to spike a human reaction. Hey, let's go kill all the damn wolves because they killed my kid. So now all the wolves are dead and all the rabbits are dead. And now all the secondary herbivore wildlife in the area is going to be becoming more dominant and starting eating everything because they have no natural predators anymore. So by this happening, all the vegetation in the area is going to die off because all the herbivores are going to eat said vegetation. And when all the vegetation dies, all the wildlife is going to start to die off. And when this happens, there's nothing really to feed the town for meat source. Sure, there's farming and stuff and all, but the entire ecosystem has collapsed because this town decided to kill all the rabbit population and the wolves. It's a very
just a lighthearted anecdote.
yes, that's my
man.
lighthearted. Yeah, that's me. That's my good humor.
Oh God. Well, if you want humor, 3 words: Australian rabbit fence. If you don't know what it is, please Google it.
How about the Australian emu wars?
Anyways, it's super interesting. So Google that. But you're definitely right about the delicate balance in the biomes, and I mean, obviously we have that in the real world and everything. So we're gonna have to be careful about the hunting and disasters and how they affect the ecology and all that. But I think it'll be really interesting to see things like breeders, instead of maybe focusing on breeding for a profit, whether they're going to be subsidized or just out of the goodness of their heart to do kind of like wildlife conservation efforts. If that starts happening, kind of keep an eye on that and whatnot. But so I'm really excited to see what happens. I mean, I hope nothing goes extinct, fingers crossed. But at the same time, I'm excited to see how we all actually kind of play the game and how that works. And just as a side note, I have to say, like, ecology wise, my favorite plant I've seen so far was, I think it was the tree in the freshwater wetlands biome. It looks kind of like a palm tree that's got kind of like a tumbleweed of marsh grass on top, but it's definitely my favorite tree. So that's just a side note. But what do you think about ecology, D?
I like the idea. I like the way they have the engine set up, and I think we covered this at one point in terms of how the game engine handles ecology. It's like you don't have a group of rabbits and you go and kill them and they respawn there 3 hours later. The rabbits have their own AI path and system that they follow. They almost follow those. What is it? I keep forgetting the guy's name. Caspian, type it out for me. It's not Maslow? Is it Maslow's laws of kind of like survival or whatever, or
The hierarchy of
needs?
needs.
Hierarchy of needs. That's the one. And the freaking animals are going to kind of like follow this on kind of like a rudimentary nature and have their own kind of like reproductive cycle and dens and everything like that to that they breed in, and they need to have food. They don't just sit there, respawn, and wait for somebody else to come kill them every 3 hours, And this is it seems like such a small thing, but to me it's such a brilliant thing, And the heavy-footed person probably won't even see half of the wildlife in Illyria because they'll run away and hide in the underground, in the undergrowth and everything. And it's to me it's great. And I guess my favorite picture, you mentioned about a tree, but my one so far is kind of like it's the one, I think it's the picture of Titan Step, where you have kind of like, you see the coniferous forests in the foreground and you see it transition into the rolling foothills at the base of the kind of like almost like the Himalaya type mountains. I think that's probably my favorite image, etc. But moving on to that, will Titan Step, for example, be the first place where the first Sedecim is held? And we know that Vibe put out a great piece, a great dev journal on the lore and everything like that of the Sedecim. And I wanted to take a little bit of time to chat about the Sedecim, what it is, what it isn't, and for sure, Noz, Mel, Drex, jump in, with comments as I kind of like go on about this. But it's what we know so far is that as it is set up when the game starts, it may change later, and I'll get into that in a little while. The Sedecim is to take place every 16 in-game years. And since every in-game year is one real-life week, it'll take place every 16 weeks in real life, or approximately about every 3.5 months in real life.
Wait, hold on. So you're telling me that I have to go right out to some place that could be literally a day travel away to go to the Sedecim, for a festival, border disputes, blah, 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 and all that?
Basically, yeah. We don't know, a lot of the mechanics yet in terms of the actual mechanics of what that contract will be. Will it require that a king has to appear in person, or, for example, can he send delegates, etc.?
Well, if that's the case, and let's say, the counts and dukes and mayors have an important role in this Sedecim as well. Let's say me, the count, has to send a representative. Can the kingdom that they're going to ensure the safe travels of all the people going? Because it's a large event, would it not be? A lot of the quote-unquote commoners, gentry, aristocrats probably wouldn't want to go. Make a name for themselves, probably. It's a power mingle.
Bet Monte says you can send delegates, I believe. I'm pretty sure he's accurate there. I have a hint this guy knows what he's talking about. But if not a delegate, maybe an ambassador. Ooh, King D can send an ambassador on his behalf. So I don't know. We'll see how that works.
Oh man.
Yeah.
The flip side, though, is it? Oh, sorry to interrupt you. I was just thinking the flip side would be if you kind of, fun side of it, if you kind of made it into like this kind of fun kind of mass pilgrimage with a bunch of people and just had a lot of fun like getting there at least. But yeah, I am
not fun.
But you could make it fun. You could do it. But regardless, just thinking about the flip side, thinking about how you're actually going to, if you're not sending a delegate, if you yourself, as a count or countess, whatnot, are actually attending, especially if it's far away, obviously you're going to be concerned about how to protect your settlement while you're away, and kind of decide who's going to be in charge there. It's, if you're not sending a delegate, it's kind of the other option. But I think it'll be kind of cool to see, how many people go, how many people stay, and how everyone's going to actually, organize that, for the protection of, their homes, but, the trade-off of going and trading and making a name for yourself. So I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean the pilgrimage thing is kind of like when I hadn't thought of it as such, but when you said
You
that,
can all come with me. I'll have a fun time going.
I kind of like I had this weird image in my mind of kind of like Monty Python meets the Canterbury Tales kind of thing, and
Oh boy.
and the stuff that's going to kind of like go on that. But anyhow, yeah, it's for me it was like the location of the Sedecim is kind of like is supposed to vary each time, but the last I've kind of heard is that it would be up for bid as to which kingdom is going to host it, and which I think is kind of like that's one way of doing it. Another way to do it might be that is that you do it on a rotational basis between the kingdoms, to prevent any kingdom kind of like monopolizing the event, because I think the travel is going to be kind of fairly critical in this. I think if it's confirmed that we can send delegates, it's not as critical as I thought before that was confirmed, because I was figuring, wow, if Caspian has said it would take approximately 48 hours on foot to travel from one end of the map to the other, and if we could let's say find a way of traveling 4 times faster than on foot, be it by boat or horse carriage, whatever. If you had kind of like that extreme situation where you've got the Sedecim being hosted in the northernmost city, the kingdom at the bottom has got to do 12 hours getting there. They've got to set up. They've got to be there for the Sedecim. They've got to be there for the fair. They've got to be there for the breakdown. And they have to travel back again. And that's a commitment of a considerable amount of in-game time, and how you're not going to be able to be on for all of that time. There are very few people that are going to be able to be online for 12 hours at a stretch to travel that length of a distance. So, will the OPCs be, that some people in that pilgrimage group or column go OPC, and it's like, I think they confirmed that you can't use a follow command. So I'm going to be interested to see how this kind of like, at least relatively large group, because you're going to need to, there's going to be either the monarch or the monarch's representatives. I would imagine this would include dukes and ducal representatives, potentially some counts and their representatives. You're going to need to have, so that's a lot of wealth, and that's a lot of power and importance making that trip in the first place. Then you're going to need to have guards for them, right? And then on top of the guards, those guards are not going to just protect, those nobles, but I would imagine there's going to be a lot of merchants going. Not necessarily with goods. I think, there might be goods kind of like transported and everything, but at least in my mind, I envision that you would get a lot of merchants going there and making deals to later transport goods, writing contracts at the fair that kind of like goes hand in hand with the Sedecim, and kind of like saying, oh, hey, you're going to, you agreed to deliver X amount of bushels of wheat to such and such a city, by such and such a date for this amount of whatever it might be in return. That's kind of like what I see happening, rather than people carting huge amounts of goods to the Sedecim and banking on whether it will sell or not. But that could be interesting as well, because on that last day or the last hour, there's going to be a lot of deals kind of going if somebody doesn't want to bring all their unsold goods and hike them another 12 hours back to their kingdom, kind of thing.
What happens, D, if you send me as a delegate on your behalf, and you don't send me with enough provisions? And I mean, the journey getting there is going to be part of the fun in and of itself. But I mean, you just really screwed me over, dude. Like, you didn't send me with enough beef jerky, and now I'm halfway there. I'm starving. I'm not a big fan of yours anymore. What's to stop me from ruining your plans? You send me as your delegate. Now I go and sign your name on something you didn't particularly want. What are they going to put in place for that?
I don't think that they're going to put anything in place for that, and I think that's a whole part of the Sedecim. When we look at kind of like when we try and look at what the Sedecim is, like I said, we know that it's supposed to take place every 16 weeks in real life, right? We know that it is also the place where it's. I think Snipe Hunter had mentioned this in the Discord, that it's an opportunity for making and breaking of treaties and contracts, of resolving disputes or creating new ones, of forming a more stable Illyria, or perhaps in tearing it apart. And for me, I think there was somewhere else that Snipe Hunter had said that they have a reason why they want all these nobles in one place. And we need to so much be constantly aware that as awesome and as beautiful as this environment of Illyria is going to be, and we ooh and ah and gasp at the scenery and everything like that, Illyria is conflict. It is conflict on a political level. It is conflict on a military level. It is conflict on an economical level, on a backstabbing level, deviant level.
Yeah.
And this is part of what it is. And so if you choose the wrong guy and you give him kind of like, the royal seal to make things, and he signs off half of your kingdom, yeah.
That's
This
what
is gonna be
Caspian and
part of the
Service
story.
is talking about in chat. They're saying you did that shit intentionally. You sent me out on this wild goose chase just to, let me end up starving in the middle of the wilderness. That's what they said.
100%. The best way to get rid of you.
Yeah, exactly. To me, this is, I don't know of another game that has been out there that is like this. The closest, funny enough, and I don't know if it was Drax, I don't know if it was you I was talking to about this or somebody else. It might have been somebody else. We had both started playing, during one of our chats that I was having with this individual, we'd both started playing Ultima Online back in 1997. And this is when, for those of you familiar with Ultima Online, it later split into Trammel and Feluca, which was basically known as the red PvP zone for Feluca, and, quote, not meant in a derogatory term from me, but how it was addressed, the Care Bear zone of Trammel. But when it was just Feluca, the story in that environment was just amazing. It was a free-for-all sandbox. Yes, there weren't even like really quests in there. There were dungeons where things respawned and everything, and as I addressed earlier, we're not going to quite have that mechanic, but people made and created their own story. It was brilliant. There were player-made cities that where people bought up plots of land and everything. It was so engaging, it was so entertaining. And then, perhaps in a disparaging way, but then we got World of Warcraft, and that kind of like, to me, it derailed. As popular as that game was, that game to me stifled evolution of MMOs for so long. It was just unbelievable. And I think, several games have tried since, but this Meow, and okay, I hate the term myself, but I'm buying into it, and that is what we will call it. I like the name Multiplayer Evolving Online World. For some reason, the acronym of Meow kind of still gets at me. But this is what the Meow is about. It's about bringing this passion. It's about putting the game back into the hands of the gamers, right? They've put the mechanics in the place, but what we do with the mechanics is up to us. And I mean, to me, my God, you can't be a gamer and not be excited about what's going to be coming down the road with this, It's just, I just like, I kind of like, to me, it's phenomenal. I'm really, really looking forward to it.
I think we all are, honestly.
Yeah, no, I just don't want
so excited for it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was Vi had said basically and confirmed that you could look upon the Sedecim as the Illyrian version of the United Nations, right? Whilst Snipe Hunter commented that it might vary from server to server, and that in fact, one server might disband the Sedecim altogether and say, screw this, we don't want to do a Sedecim at all. And if they all agree to that, because you can change those via contract, you can change those original game set laws of the Sedecim, but another server might say, wow, we're going to do this every 4 Illyrian years instead of every 16, and then it's every month in real life. And so even that part, to at least a certain extent, is placed in our hands. And I still don't think that a lot of people, and of course many of them are still unaware that COE is even in development. A large bulk of gamers, I think, are in that category. But when they find out just how much power is being given to us, I just think the game is just going to be just amazing, in terms of the impact it has on the gaming community, kind of thing. But yeah,
How far off are we on our script right now? Because I mean, I haven't even looked at it this entire time. Are we still talking about the 4 subjects here? Okay.
No, we're not.
No,
we're just having fun now.
Yeah,
we
went off on a tangent.
We
always go.
We crumpled up the paper, threw it in the fire, and said, "Fuck it, we're gonna do whatever we want."
I mean, I'm totally down with that. But the Destiny system and Astrology and the Sedecim. I mean, I think that it's an option that some servers are going to do away with this. I mean, really? I mean, that's. I don't know. I hope that we can keep it. It's a part of the game, and that's the way they're doing this. They're putting a lot of these systems in place, and you don't have to participate in them. It's just a part of the world that you're going to be, operating in with your character and filling your story. And that's so cool. I mean, they say, we're not going to completely stop you from doing this. It's not going to be advantageous for you to do so. Whereas other games, you have to walk this linear path. I mean, that's definitely something to be excited about for sure. But this Astrology piece, I think we've covered that as much as we're going to. I hope so, because I'm not a real big fan of the stars.
You don't want to pick your favorite?
No, I don't. But,
which animal are you, Nas?
I'm not one.
It's the monkey.
I'm a honey badger. I don't know. Is that a thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
What might call him an ass?
Yeah, that's true. I've been called that many times.
Well played. Oh my God, no. I personally, I am excited for the Sedecim. I think it's I think there's a huge advantage to being given safe passage to a different kingdom, especially. I mean, think of the trade opportunities if you're a tailor or anything like that, where you can get, fabrics that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get, maybe.
What are you going to
whether
smuggle
it's
in your fabrics now?
Yeah. There's my plan. Here's my grand plan, guys. You got me.
Yeah, but
my super stealthy plan.
Would you go as an individual tailor, or would you kind of like have these really powerful guilds, trade guilds going? And
I think
if you have these kind of like competing trade guilds going, right, and they're vying for kind of like for the power and for the business, are they going to be kind of like having their own little subplots of trying to assassinate each other along the way and stuff? Maybe the guards aren't going to be protecting so much about people from outside of the freaking delegation making its way, as much from the ones that are happening inside, where Tailor A is trying to kill Tailor B so that he can get all the contracts at the Sedecim fair,
The Tailor Wars.
Yeah, so now Dee's basically turned COE into Hunger Games, going to the Sedecim.
Yeah, exactly.
I worry about my own people.
Awesome.
I mean, Gohab out there. There's a few Gohabs out there that just
Gohab.
He seems like a nice enough person, but I don't know if I turn my back to him in COE. He's burned me quite a few times in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I mean, as soon as I come out of my villa, I mean, what am I going to get? You just never know who's going to be trying to stab you in the back, you know?
Never turn your back and go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I refuse to get into boats with you anymore. Never again. Never.
Didn't you drive the boat once?
What?
Flip us all? Didn't you drive the boat once and flipped us all like someone?
Are you
like,
talking to me or Nas?
Yeah, no, you.
Oh, no, that was the car. When Nas told me F was for honk. It wasn't. So yeah.
So we're
Good times, good times,
getting
guys.
to our 45-minute mark. So Mel, if you can start looking at the replies to the contest and picking out a contest winner, we want to remind everybody here that if you want to hop on into the official COE Discord channel, I think it's the Inn or the Tavern. Serp, correct me, which is the correct one to send people to. And we normally go into the COE channel and, chat for a little while. Sometimes some of the devs join us. Sometimes they don't. It's all good. But it's a great way to kind of, meet other members of the community and have a chat in there as well. And so Serpentius has confirmed that it is the Inn. And as always, Serp, thank you for coming in and helping moderate. Caspian, I know your time is always busy, likewise with you, Snipe Hunter. And I know that our stream is kind of like at a time when you guys are typically commuting. And so, special thanks to all three of you for being able to make it in and help kind of like, promote our stream, which promotes, the game. So it's kind of like it's a good symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
Mel, what's the winner?
Well, before we
All
get
right,
to
so-
that, I want to, remind everyone that Kit Landria also made a meme this week that Serp really, really likes. And so a lot of people have been saying in the community, we want updates, we want updates. Well, the last week or so, we've been getting some updates. We've been getting a lot of content. We've been getting our first ever video DJ, which was really cool. I thought that was brilliant. And so everybody get an update. You get an update. Yeah, everybody gets updates. So we all got updates, pretty good updates this week. There's a lot of material out there. So make sure you get out there and check that out. I have a lot that I have to catch up on as well with the astrology stuff. I'm just haven't quite got my head wrapped around that yet. But there's a lot of new stuff out there. So get on the COE website and take a look at it for sure.
Excellent
All right.
stuff. Oh, all yours, Mel.
Awesome. Okay, so we do have a winner. And let's see. The winning phrase was, Sedecim is a time of peace to come together and discuss with others, you say? Sounds to me like a time to casually get our men within their walls and let our swords do the talking men. And that was by Savvy Cat. So don't forget to PMD and get your 100 EP or your token. And thanks everyone for coming to hang out with us. We had a ball. I hope you did too. And come to chat with us afterwards.
Savvy Cat is getting rich off us. That's not the first time.
He won last time.
That's
We're
not
gonna
the
have
first
somebody
time
else
he's
pick.
won. Yeah.
I know. We're going to have to ban him from the next one to give other people a chance.
Kit picked him last time. Okay, that guy's going to...
Speaking of getting rich,
All right.
Kit Landria, I know, D, you may not even know anything about this, but the BBC, we do things, we create these storyboards, and we're using all this software to do this stuff, and there's cost associated with that. You don't mind it, and you never question it, but Kit Landria is wanting us to announce that she will be setting up a Patreon account for us, and so, we're not going to beat people up if they don't want to support us. But if you like the product that we're producing here and you want to see us, do better and get better and, be able to stop bugging D for all these tools.
Hold on. Correction. Sorry. It was actually Bernie who won, not.
Borne.
I'm sorry, guys.
Okay.
It's been a rough day.
Borne won. Oh,
yeah.
That's even better. That's
False
even better.
alarm.
Anyway,
sorry about
Borne
that. This
won,
is my Kit host.
and we have a Patreon account coming next week. She'll announce that at our next stream. So if you guys are interested in supporting what we do here, look forward to that. And Borne, I mean, I can. It makes perfect sense now with the swords and crap. Borne. Okay.
All right. See everybody over in the official Discord. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Yep. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
guys. Night.